So Arsenal have been signing a few players and they've been linked with a lot of players, and it got me thinking, are they planning to change their system? We know Arteta basically wants to be Pep. I mean, he literally copies his face movements, his hand movements. He does the whole on the touchline. He talks a bit like Pep. Obviously, they're both Spanish, so it kind of makes sense. But you get what I'm trying to say? And we know Pep loves to just make a challenge, loves to change his system and all that stuff. So I'm thinking, Partey's now left. They've replaced him with Zubimendi. Jorginho left. They replaced him with Norgard. Eze's apparently going to be a midfielder they're willing to sign, which what we'll talk about. They're going to try and sign this Mosquera, I say the name. I think they've already signed him, actually. I could be wrong. And Rodrigo, potential left winger. Madueke as well, which I don't really rate. Gyökeres as the striker, which we know Arsenal's typically, they have not been playing suited to a number 9, like a proper number 9. Gabriel Jesus played number 9 there, but he's not really a real number. He's a number 9, but he's not really a proper number 9, is he? Like, he's a lot more of a link-up guy. Kai Havertz was bought to play in midfield. They just stumbled across him playing up front. He scored a bit. He'd done a few pebble patches, but they're about to get a proper number 9 potentially in Victor Gyökeres. So in regards to that, I believe they're going to have a system change. I personally think that. I personally think they're going to have a system change. And my personal belief is this. I believe they're going to change their formation into this 4-2-3-1. We know Arteta plays 4-3-3 with an attacking 8, a 6, and then I wouldn't really say another 8, but it is kind of an 8, but it's not really an attacking 8. Like Declan Rice plays there, a bit more box to box, stuff like that. He has the touchline winger on the right. He doesn't have a 10. He doesn't have a really. He has the striker comes sort of drops deep. You know what I mean? But this one is a lone striker. No wingers to really. Well, this is wingers, but no real wingers to fucking support him. It's more the striker will be occupying the defence. These lot will be a bit more deeper. Touchline winger, of course, we know about Saka and stuff like that. Saka's obviously going to be in the starting 11. So I wanted to get into a potential how Arsenal could line up with potential targets and how that I think they could how I think they're going to line up if they do land with the players have already landed pretty much. So obviously David Raya is in goal. We know Kepa's a backup. So we'll give David Raya in goal. That's a no-go. But listen, the defense is pretty much the same, and it's going to get a bit more into the midfield. However, I do want to talk about a certain left back. Right back in a minute, I go Timber. Ben White's been amazing for them at right back, but he got injured, and now obviously Timber's just been better because he's just he is better than him. Saliba for now, I think will stay. So I think you'll go with Saliba and Gabriel. I know they just signed that Mosquera guy. I don't know what his name is. I don't know how to say his name. They just signed him, but yeah, they got that. That's standard in it. That 4 is going to stay there. That's like what I think they considered the second. No, they considered the least amount of goals last season and the season before that. So I think they've got. You could probably argue got the best defense in the league. Certainly with that. I mean, I know they play with like 10 DMs, but that probably is one of the main. It's not the main reason why they concede such less goals because Timber's amazing, Saliba and Gabriel, brilliant partnership. Gabriel's a top keeper. Left back though, however, this is what I heard. Theory: Calafiori could potentially be another left back that they put in there. But he'd be his second season now. He'd be supposedly a bit more polished up. I mean, I don't really rate the guy, but I know, Arsenal fans that do rate him, you're going to have to sit here and try and get some use out of him. You paid 30, 40 million for him. He's on 120 bags a week. He's going to need to start playing some football. Yes, he's had injury problems. He was bought to play left back. And from what I've heard, Arsenal fan, I personally like Lewis Skelly. I think Lewis Skelly's a top player, especially at left back. But that's where I wanted to come into it because that's where this comes into it. Because Calafiori, or unless there's another left back I'm forgetting, maybe Zinchenko, but I think Zinchenko is completely out of favour. You have Calafiori there, and then Lewis Skelly into the midfield. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, look, Thomas Partey is out, but no. So this is where it doesn't make sense. Thomas Partey's not out. Sorry, Thomas Partey's gone. This way doesn't make sense because they bought Zubimendi. This is why I'm trying to feel like this is why it's confusing my brain how they're going to set up. Because if Thomas Partey leaves, your direct replacement is not a Zubimendi. It's almost like Miles Lewis Skelly is more similar to Thomas Partey than Zubimendi is. Zubimendi is not like Thomas Partey as a player. Zubimendi is more of a player that plays in a 2, I'm saying, alongside of someone, and he can, carry the ball. He's a bit similar to Frankie de Jong, Zubimendi. Zubimendi's a bit similar to Frankie de Jong on the ball. Skelly's a bit more better bit like Thomas Partey with the fact that Skelly's got a passing range. He can play 1-touch, 2-touch type football. He can carry the ball as well, and defensively very strong. Gets across the pitch well. Zubimendi defensively is a bit not suspect, but he's not the best defensively. You know what I'm saying? I know the stats some people brought up is like recoveries and all that stuff, but if you actually watch him, he's not the best defensively. A bit like Frankie de Jong. So you could say for me, I don't rate Calafiori, so I'm going to go Lewis Skelly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lewis Skelly's back in the midfield. That is one thing I will say, because, you know, Arsenal fans have been telling me that he's the Thomas Partey replacement, but then they did sign Norgard, and Zubimendi to me isn't a direct replacement. However, if you put Zubimendi in this team in the double pivot, it will be a decent player. You will get a decent player, which is why I think they are, because I feel like Rice isn't going to be the 8. I don't think Rice is trusted to be the 8. I feel like Rice and Zubimendi in a pivot is much better. Zubimendi can be the guy that carries or Rice can carry the ball as well. Zubimendi could be the guy that, you know, does all the build-up play and stuff like that. Rice is the guy that carries the ball, you know, box crashes and stuff like that, breaks up play, does all the things Declan Rice can do, which, you know, he can do to a decent level. And then this is the next one. So obviously we've got this one, Zubimendi and Rice, and I feel like that'd be a good pivot. But I feel like if you put Declan Rice in the 8 as what they were doing last season, 4-3-3, I don't feel like it gets the best out of Declan Rice. And I feel like if you put Zubimendi as the lone 6 in a 4-3-3, I don't feel like that gets the best out of Zubimendi. Even when, you know, obviously Spain, I do think they do play a bit, but he doesn't even start for Spain. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even start for Spain. So I feel like Zubimendi's more suited, like a Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong would be better, like in a 4-2-3-1 rather than a 4-3-3. Although he did ball out quite a bit last season, Frankie de Jong. But predominantly, when he's been at Barca, he's been inconsistent because he's not that type of player. And I feel like this is how they could potentially line up with Zubimendi. And obviously, I'm cautious on Miles Lewis-Skelly. I need to know what Arsenal fans think in the comments. Do you think Skelly will leave? Not leave. Do you think Skelly will play left back and Calafiori will play on the bench? Or do you think Calafiori will play left back and Lewis Skelly will play in the midfield? What do you think? But yeah, this is the one. Eze. Now, we know Odegaard's definitely going to start. Even if they sign it at Eze, Odegaard will definitely start the season off as the main guy. But according to Ben Jacobs and other people, that Eze is the midfielder Arsenal were looking to bring in. They're looking to bring in a winger, which they've already brought in Madueke, and Eze to play in midfield, which leaves me questioning because, as I said, Zubimendi isn't great in the lone 6. Declan Rice isn't great in the 8, but in a pivot, they both could work. Eze cannot play attacking 8 like Odegaard. He can't play in that position. He can't. He's defensively not that great. You know what I'm saying? His work rate defensively is not that great. And he relies a bit more on a freedom rather than telling him to stick to a zone. Which you see when you watch Odegaard play for Arsenal, he more sticks to a zone rather than, you know what I mean? Like he operates in this area of the pitch doing link-ups with Saka and stuff like that, rather than a 10 like Eze just drifts around everywhere, drifts around to the left, drifts around to the right, just drifts essentially type thing. That's why I feel like they could change it with the new additions. I feel like that's what Arteta could potentially going for to then accommodate a striker. So at a minute, I would go obviously Odegaard. But, I mean, if Odegaard don't up his game, I think Eze will dethrone him eventually. Because I don't even know if Odegaard can play in the 10. His passing range can certainly play in the 10. He'll probably do better with his passing, his little intricate passes. But in terms of carrying the ball, all right, he can dribble. He's got flary feet, but he's not a carrier, is he? Like, you don't watch Odegaard and go, oh my days, like you can't get the ball off him sometimes. He just runs, like Yaya Toure used to do, just run past 3 players and stuff like that. You watch Odegaard and you think intricate passes, delicate weight on the ball, box crashing at times when he gets back into the box, which, by the way, could be a thing that you could see. Now he's a bit more closer, a bit more freedom. You could see Odegaard get more into the box and score goals because we know he bagged 15 in one season. So he could probably, get 10. Again, I probably won't get 15 again, but 10 again, playing with a bit more freedom in the 10. And yeah, that's what I think. Obviously, we know Saka. I don't think that's any. I don't think that's any discussion needed, really. No discussion needed. He's not getting replaced anytime soon. Yes, Noni Henry is on the bench, but Noni Henry will not be replacing Bukayo Saka. One, because he's nowhere near as good as him, and even if he was, Arteta is still playing Bukayo Saka. Left wing, though, obviously the link with Rodrigo. I'm still confused because I don't know personally. I did think he would join them, but I'm starting to change now. They bought Madueke because I don't see them getting rid of a Trossard and a Martinelli, which would then they would have to sign this player, because one, to free up a bit of wages, and two, there's no way they're going to get Eze, Madueke for 50, Gyökeres as well. And then they've got Zubimendi already. They're not spending 350 in one summer. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. So I need to be a bit... Maybe I'll take out Rodrigo now, actually, for now. And I think they'll probably start the season off with Martinelli. I'll be real. I don't see them selling him. I don't see him buying a buyer, because I don't feel like he wants to go Saudi, which I do think will fuck them up. I tell you why I think that will fuck them up in terms of what they're trying to do. Because Eze could play on the left, yes, but I don't think he's a great left winger. And the reports are saying that they want to play him as a midfielder. Martinelli, I don't think can work with an out-and-out number 9. I feel like the best of Martinelli we ever saw was when he had Lacazette or he had Gabriel Jesus next to him. His best 2 seasons at Arsenal were when he had Lacazette and Gabriel Jesus as the striker, because he can't work with a proper number 9. We saw as soon as someone else come in that started box hugging, like Havertz, and didn't do the link-up thing and the carrying and the dribbling and open up space, you saw Martinelli's form dropped off. And that's because that's because he's just not that technical, you know what I mean? He's just a bit limited. He likes to run behind and score goals, which is a bit similar to someone like, for me, for Rashford, but Rashford's a bit more talented than Martinelli, so Rashford can get away with it at times. I don't feel like Martinelli works well. I feel like they're better off playing Trossard, and even that I don't necessarily think is the greatest move to play Trossard. But if they get Rodrigo, that's a life changer, mate. But yeah, the striker obviously is going to probably be Gyökeres. I've done a video of that myself. I think it will definitely, probably 95% sure it's going to be Gyökeres, the striker. So yeah, but what do you not think? Do you not think this is what they're going to do? Or do you think Arteta will go back to, or will stick to his 4-3-3 and play something like this? So we'll have, oh my gosh, what the hell? Odegaard, Saka. Oh my days, they made an absolute mare of this for me. And then they will do like this, something across those lines like this. They put Zubimendi there, and you put Rice there. Do you reckon they'll do something like that? Potentially. Do you reckon they'll still... I don't think this would work. I feel like this would be a lot less link-up kind of way, especially if you had Eze instead of Odegaard. It would be a lot less fluid. A lot less players would struggle. Zubimendi and Rice being one, and if Eze plays there, that midfield will struggle. If you have a midfield in a 4-3-3 of Eze, Zubimendi and Declan Rice, I do think that will struggle. But if you played in a 4-2-3 and set up like this, mate, why is it doing that? I feel like this would work. I feel like that would work comfortably. But yeah, let me know what you lot think in the comments. I'm out, people. Peace. Hit the sub button as well and the like button. Peace.